TooKyo Games is a group I've been following for a while. The creatives involved in the group have developed some of my favourite titles, or were heavily influential to me when I was younger, so seeing the directors of Danganronpa Zero Escape for Infinity team up for various projects like World's End Club, Death Come True, or the anime Akudama Drive has been exciting, and I've enjoyed their works thus far. One title that was announced some time ago was the extreme baseball live service game Tribe 9. 2 years ago it got an anime tie-in to set the scene, but we hadn't heard anything since. Then it turns out they're teaming up with Akatsuki Games, a subsidiary of Koei Tecmo, to bring it to life, so I spent some time in the closed beta test to see what this experience has to offer. Tribe 9 stars the amnesiac youth Yo Kuronaka, who has been rescued from the clutches of a Dragon Quest parody by the Trash Tribe, the world formerly an over-the-top sports world where everything was decided by youths and tribes playing extreme baseball, has been destroyed and taken over by the mysterious masked man Zero. This eccentric entertainer loves to make people play games with executions on the line to raise the stakes. The Trash Tribe finds their rescue attempt entirely thwarted by Zero, who anticipates their actions but wants to toy with them and thus will send them to various territories he controls to play more games with them. Taking control of some of the Trash Tribe members, you will guide their retro-esque sprites across 3D overworlds, navigating the cities turned into Zero's game boards. And then you'll run into grunts, goons, and sentry bots to beat up an action RPG combat. You have access to a team of 3, and you can swap between which one you control at will, whilst the others remain AI controlled. Each character has a regular attack combo, a dodge, 2 action skills, an ultimate, and an assist move. These skills charge over time as you play, and assist skills can be used when you inflict particular ailments on your opponent, which can be chained together for considerable damage. On top of these, as you deal with hits through your various skills, you will also increase the tension gauge. This gauge up the top will trigger the effects of various tension cards you equip as you fill the gauge. Attack boosts, temporary time slowdown on a successful dodge, defense boost, increased ailment chances, buffs that boost your close range damage but nerf your distance damage. You can trigger all sorts of effects this way, and if you don't keep up the gauge, it will peter out. Your opponents have gauges similar, and they will go up as they hit you, boosting their damage and making them very scary to fight. As it currently stands, it feels quite fun. The skills add some variety to regular combos, and swapping control of various characters in a team gives some weight to the group you're playing as, especially given that characters have voice lines to reference their party members in battle, and chain attacks lead to direct callouts. When the issues start to pop up, they are caused by the elements that are part and parcel of the mobile game systems. In this beta, this is how you obtain most tension cards and characters. Still, several powerful tension cards are given to you by default, and developer interviews have confirmed they'd like to make cards related to especially interesting mechanics freely accessible via play rewards. Hence, this isn't much of a concern. It feels weird for characters, as there are cast members you just can't use until you pull them in the gacha. This is normal, except for the fact that the game goes out of its way to have a small scene justifying how you can get others. It's a strange choice, but it's a lose-lose scenario. As you level up a character, you can tweak their stats with gems. However, you can also get extra gems and passive skills for pulling duplicate characters, encouraging you to pull more even when you have your full team. This game does have a stamina gauge, but it is consumed exclusively in dungeons. These dungeons reward accessories that can be combined into stats for stat boosts, and they all have bosses or boss-like encounters at the end. In terms of design, these boss fights rule. Bosses have attack patterns reminiscent of raid fights from MMOs like Final Fantasy XIV, as I found out the hard way from some friends who are watching me get my ass kicked. But you aren't just running rotations. The fights in the CBT are a blast, requiring proper player positioning and careful timing to exploit openings. The character variety also helps, with cast members all feeling like they have their own specific niches in battle. There are 2 significant issues I have though. Chain attacks are cool and very fun to use, but to make the most of the combos, you need characters with specific follow-up ailment affinities to make a team with. This makes it easy for certain characters to be highly incentivized or to be pulled for particular affinities. Having characters unable to chain really detracts from the proper feel of a team. The other issue is what I believe is damage scaling. If you haven't hit the current required higher level, your offensive stats feel especially weak, basically requiring additional leveling. Currently, leveling is slow, thus this turns into a grind. The game's story presentation is fantastic, alternating between its retro-esque overworld and visual novel styles. Character poses are great, and the large CG backgrounds being cut up into smaller pieces to simulate scene depth during its transitions between characters is a brilliant choice. This is easily the best presentation I have seen in any gacha game. There are clear limitations in that there are never more than 2 characters on screen to make it easily viewable on mobile devices, but they get around more action-based scenes via clever sprite work and transitions. The biggest presentation flaw is the translation. It's currently very scuffed and needs some work to clean up, but hopefully that can be fixed before the game has a proper release. Finally, I mentioned at the start that this game involved baseball. How does the baseball come in? Sure, the characters have vague baseball theming with weapons that are technically mitts and helmets and bats and... the rulebook is a Necronomicon, but whatever. The real baseball comes in the form of the extreme baseball game that forms the climax of the first chapter, and assumedly the climax of future chapters. Well, you can only imagine my surprise when the game with the involvement of Kazutaka Gotaka, Danganronpa director, shows up with the prompts, XP is a debate and finding a rebuttal is important. This baseball is still very much baseball, but it's just as much a verbal debate and a showdown between the characters' beliefs. While you line up pitches or swings on a grid, you also pick out dramatic arguments, sometimes enhanced by collecting evidence throughout the chapter. It's very easy to make a pointed comparison between this and Danganronpa's class trials, and you should. The influence is clear and it's fantastic. He cannot keep getting away with this. Then you get to see the characters you've been with through the entire chapter staring down your foes and pulling out crazy gymnastic feats in extreme baseball. Without the stamina cost for dailies and maybe a shop system to buy attention cards, Tribe 9 would have absolutely killed it on the PS Vita or Nintendo Switch. I think I will have to play the full release when it drops just to see what else they can cook up with the formula. Thank you guys so much for watching. Noisy Pixels is a group dedicated to bringing you guys the best news, reviews, previews, and more. Please stick around by ringing the bell and subscribing if you haven't already to stay up to date on all of our future releases. And, make sure to keep up when I eventually review the full game, because, come on, why would I not?
Noisy Pixel.